Hey, how you doing? All right, I know it's been a while. I've been so busy. I've been working on a lot of things and working with a lot of clients. It's been amazing. I'm so inspired by humans. They're so freaking cool. Um, I've been working on a lot of exciting things, some of which I'm going to be sharing with you in the next coming weeks. I'm really excited. Um, But I wanted to come to you today and share some insight with you. I've been working, like I said, I've been working with a lot of clients, and I noticed in working with them, both design clients and kind of personal growth clients, that there's something that they shared. And that thing is a lot of daily dissatisfaction. There's this frustrated sense of just feeling stuck. And I can personally identify with this. I know this stuck feeling very well. I go through long phases of stuck and then feeling great and then feeling stuck again. I think that's the normal pattern of life. But it's very uncomfortable to be stuck in these stuck places. To be caught in these stuck places. And so I wanted to create something that could be a resource for my clients, for myself, for all of you, in how you can get unstuck when you start noticing that you're stuck. So I have created a PDF. It's a free PDF. It gives 6 tips to getting unstuck, and it also starts off with a little perspective on why we get stuck in the first place, which is what I'd like to talk to you about today. So, why is it exactly that so many of us feel stuck? I want to tell you a little story. So if any of you know me personally, you know that I have a little dog. He's like 8 pounds. He's this crazy little Chihuahua mutt dude. His name is Orwell. And oh my gosh, I love him so much. But my partner has a dog, and his dog is this Great Dane Lab mix. So while my dog is about 8 pounds, his dog is about 108 pounds, and she's huge. Okay, so I'm going running one day, and Rob says, "Hey, could you take Sadie with you when you go running? Because she loves to get out. She needs some exercise." I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So I grab her leash, and I'm holding on to the little retracty leash thing, and I'm running, and I get about halfway through my run, and I kind of look over, and I notice I'm sweaty, and I'm out of breath, and she's kind of just walking. she's not running. And I'm looking over thinking, wow, I am really slow. I am not running quickly. I should get better at this. I've been running for a while. Clearly, I'm not doing it right. I'm doing this running thing wrong. Because Sadie, the dog, is not even running. So I get back home, and I'm frustrated, and Rob's like, "Oh, she's just got really long legs, and it's okay." And I thought, yeah, all right, I don't know. So the next morning, I'm going out, and I'm thinking, I'm going to take Orwell with me running, because he needs some love, too, and some outdoor time. So I hitch him up, and I've got his leash, and I start running, and I look over part of the way through, and I'm doing okay. And he's, like, trotting along at full speed, and he's looking up at me like, "What are you doing to me?" And so I tell you this story to highlight the fact that where we focus our perspective point on which I ended that with a preposition, the point on which we focus our reference point is the point that's influencing how successful we think we are. So if I focus my reference point on Sadie, and she's barely trotting along, I'm thinking, wow, I really suck at this. If I put my reference point on Orwell, I'm thinking, man, I am a rock star runner. I'm going to go race some people because I'm so fast and I'm not tired as quickly as he's tired. We do this in our life with people. So it's an easy example with dogs, and clearly comparing yourself to a dog is sort of humorous. But we do this to people all the time on Facebook. We see somebody that is living their life and doing their thing, and we start comparing ourselves. And not only do we compare ourselves to a person, but I think there's a human tendency to compare ourselves to an amalgamation of other people. We kind of observe all these amazing people in our spheres, and we're unaware that mentally we're jamming them all together and comparing ourselves to the best parts of each of them, which means that in this process we're also minimizing or possibly even deleting altogether the negatives that each of these individuals have. So not only are we deleting out the negative, but we're only focusing on the positive, and we're focusing on the positive of multiple people and adding them up into this focal point for ourselves that is ultimately unrealistic and probably unreachable, because it's unrealistic. So that's an example of how, even on social media, in everyday life, maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a family member, or a friend that you see, and you start to amalgamate and combine together their positive traits and delete and not notice their negative. Which, of course, when it comes to ourselves, we don't do that because we're hyper aware of our negative traits, of our drawbacks, of our downfalls. And so we start to compare a realistic version of ourselves, or possibly one that doesn't give us enough credit. We start comparing that version of ourselves to an unrealistic version of somebody else that is skewed toward the positive, where ours was skewed toward the negative. You could see how this would lead to a lot of frustration and feeling heavy and unsuccessful and overwhelmed. And it just is not helping with success. So the other piece of why we're feeling unstuck has to do with the fact that we are all on our own paths in life. Not only have we created an imaginary focal point with these other people, but we have now created it based on what other people want. So we have been raised in society, and society is saying, here's what you should want: 2.5 kids, nice car, big house, etc., etc. Here are the things that you should want. And we start comparing ourselves to the wants and desires of others. Mm-hmm. The downside of this is that we're not tapping into what we really want. So not only are we falling short from this unrealistic vision of other people or of what other people want, but it's not actually ultimately what we want. So the secret with this piece of it is to hone in on your own inner GPS. That little part of you, for me, it's like right here in my chest, in my sternum, and that there's something in there, there's a knowing that guides you to what you want in life. This is the part of you that when you take that bite of that food that is so good to you, you take that bite and you're like, oh, and it feels so good, and it like, yeah, it's here, like, oh, it tastes good, and it's in your taste buds, and your head's like, yeah, that tastes nice, but it goes all the way down, like right there, and you're like, that's nice. That's where we want to start guiding our life decisions from. It's our inner GPS, and that guides us to what it is that you and me in our own lives we actually want in life. So when we let the paths or choices of others, the normal and the shoulds of others start to direct our GPS, we lose focus on our own path because it's not stemming from what it is we truly want. The way to solve this is to begin questioning yourself about where that nav voice is originating and what it is saying to you. When it says, turn left in 1 block, is it guiding you to your ultimate desires, or is it leading you to someone else's? So with this part, I don't mean to suggest that you don't know your own mind, but I actually kind of do. Because we don't. There is so much of us that is not in the conscious realm. You know, you've heard the part about 10% of our selves and our awareness is conscious, and the other 90% is subconscious and unconscious. That's what I'm talking about. There is 90% of yourself that you still have to explore and to figure out, and you may not really have listened to what it is up until now. Or if you have, and you've done a lot of self-work, you know just as well as I do that there are many, many layers. So as much as you have explored, there is just as much, if not more, to keep exploring, right? So we all have hidden programming and fears that are guiding us to act in certain ways, and it can create powerful shifts to begin to consider where these programming pieces exist in our subconscious, in our conscious, and in our lives where we're incorporating it, and to stop letting it be subconscious or unconscious. By getting clear that these factors are present, that other influences are present, that we're not necessarily guiding our lives according to our own desires, then we can start to discern where the voice is, that inner GPS voice of ourselves, and say, okay, I hear that's you, and that's you, and that's you, and that's society, and wait, okay, this one's me. And it doesn't mean you can't listen to those. It doesn't mean you can't take them into account. But it does mean that you can start to be aware of the influence that they're having, and maybe even just aware of the conflict. Hey, I want this and society wants this, which allows you power in a realistic assessment of the situation. And you can say, here are two warring things. How am I going to resolve that? What I'd like to do, there's one more thing I wanted to say. If we can get clear that these underlying desires are present, then the ones that lead us to where we truly want to go, rather than the ones that lead us to where we're supposed to go, and we can hone in on the goals that ignore convention. We can ignore what's normal, or at least we can be aware of it and start to make our own decisions. We can start to let our decisions and our GPS truly reflect what our hearts desire, and then they can lead us on a path that's truly fulfilling to our deepest self, rather than fulfilling the shoulds of somebody else. What I'd like to do today for this week is leave you with two challenges for the upcoming week. As we head into, next week, we'll address what the first step in the 6 tips to getting unstuck. We'll address the first one next week. But this week, I want to leave you with two challenges that you can think about as we're going into that. First of all, this is sort of a meditation, so feel free to pause the video, get into a space where you can sit for, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and listen to me guide you through something that can help offer a shift in your perspective. If you want to listen to it later, that's great. You can always come back to this point in the video and do it at another time. But you do want to be able to be quiet and focused just for this first part of the challenge, okay? So I would love for you to sit down, focus yourself, and think of one person that you think has it all together. Possibly someone who's doing what you want to do in life. This is the person, he or she is the one that you see on Instagram, on Facebook, and you have this twinge in yourself. Or maybe it's not just a twinge, maybe it's like full blown, like, raw, that person's so amazing and I suck. It's something where there's some jealousy. There's definitely a comparison point. With every post, every smiling photo, every hashtag this person throws out, you're thinking, oh, they're so amazing and I'm just so not. So get that person in your head. Take a focused moment to picture him or her or them. Hold them in your mind and greet them as a fellow human. If your eyes aren't closed, please do that now. So hold this person in your mind and see them before you and greet them as a fellow human. Notice them. Allow them to notice you. Invite this interaction. Now gaze into their eyes in your mind. And as you see them, see their humanity. Notice their flaws and appreciate them as a balance. Notice their flaws as a balance to this beautiful personality that you admire. Because without the beautiful personality, you wouldn't have the flaws and vice versa. They balance out an entire human. Notice that balance within this person. Remind yourself that this person hurts and struggles just as you do. Allow yourself to see this same recognition of yourself in their eyes. See them noticing your flaws and offering love for your flaws. See them noticing your strengths and appreciating those strengths that you bring to the table. Breathe into this exchange. Release your mental image of this person with love. We're going to leave them. Know that as you leave this situation and this interaction with this person in your mind, that you can carry that human support that you've gained from them and the one you offered to them. You can carry that with you as you separate. So as you separate, you leave knowing not only that this person has flaws and is an imperfect human, but loving that in them. And as you love that in them, you are more able to love that imperfection in yourself. Open your eyes as you feel ready. I'm going to adjust my camera because it's really not picking up on the light. So the second challenge is something that I'm going to send you off with so that you can focus on this throughout the next week. As you make decisions through this next week, ask yourself what it is that you really want. Ask yourself, is this what I really want and desire? Don't even feel pressure to change anything. Simply notice if you are doing something for yourself or for others, or both. But offer yourself the freedom to say, I am acting in a way that is not for myself. I'm acting this way out of expectation. And just notice. And don't feel pressure to change anything at all. This is an activity for a week of you noticing, with no pressure to fix, no pressure to change, nothing. So notice if maybe you're ordering that extra shot because it's the manly thing to do and you're the one who drinks the most caffeine, rah. Okay? Or notice maybe if you're wearing those shoes or that necklace because your mom told you that it's what responsible women do and that this is the acceptable way to act. Okay? Those are just a couple examples. I invite you to notice where your decision influencers are and what they are guiding you to do. Don't try to change it yet. Allow yourself to notice these without judgment. So noticing these things and then saying, oh, I suck that I'm doing these is also not helpful. We're noticing them and we're saying, isn't that interesting? And allowing your inner self to recognize and possibly to want to shift in the future out of desire, not out of more shoulds. The other thing that I'd like you to notice as you notice these things, to recognize in yourself, is that some following of others, the guidance of others, it serves us. It does serve us. This is not a negative overall. Following the guidance of others served you in the past, and it still will in the future. But we want it to be something that's healthy. We want it to be something that's conscious and intentional. So we want to be aware of where we're following the guidance of others, not let it be a blind spot that's limiting us because we think we have to. That's where the power comes in. So you're doing this thing for your own good, not for the good of others, because when we follow things blindly, often it's been handed to us because it's convenient for other people, or it's what they think is the right thing to do, or it's what serves their ultimate purpose, not yours. So in noticing that it's yours, you're gaining back power and allowing yourself to take on that power and act out of what in the future, because we're not changing anything, you're acting out of what will serve you now. Remember through all of this, the first activity and the second challenge, to love yourself and love the process that brought you here, as well as the new patterns that will get you into the next phase that you'll be creating out of new awarenesses. So this is just the intro into the six steps to getting unstuck. To get all 6 steps, please click on the link below. I would love for you to have it for free. I made it for all of us so that we can all be happier humans. And I would love if you have feedback on it. Please feel free to email me, hello@mandystraight.com. Stay tuned for next week when we will talk about the first step of the 6 steps to getting unstuck, which is stop trying to fix it. Thank you so much.